living where I do, sometimes I get questions from family and friends, particularly those who might follow more of the conservative news media, and you guys okay? I hear Antifa's burning Olympia down, or geez, they shot the shooter just the other night next to you. Are you guys all right? You doing okay? And the answer is always like, well, we're fine. Like, everything's cool here in Lacey, Washington. It doesn't really affect us, like, personally. But today, I don't know if you can tell, but skies are a little hazy. That's because of the wildfires that are burning all across Washington and the American West. And got me thinking, it's, you know, we're breathing it in. People have called before and asked, oh, I saw on the news that all of the West is burning down. Is your house on fire? And it's because, you know, it's hard to judge when you don't live in an area like what the distances are. I don't live in a national forest. Again, nice little city. And the usual answer is like, no, we're fine. It's like a little smoky. But it's smoky now, and I'm breathing it in. We're all breathing it in. Like the world is on fire, and we're breathing in the smoke, and I feel fine, but it must be doing something, right? It's not the same as breathing not smoky air. The sky doesn't look the same as when this world's not on fire. Normally the answer to the questions about like some of the protests and the riots is like, it doesn't have anything to do with me or my street, but it's still in the air. So, just a little history, a little less than a week ago, about a mile and a half that way, a bunch of police officers showed up that were part of like a task force, meaning that they were working for like different police agencies, but under the guise of the U.S. Marshal Service, and attempted to arrest a man who was wanted for shooting someone during the Portland protests. And the news today from the coroner's office is that he died of, surprise, surprise, multiple gunshots to the head and torso. He just got shot a lot, and there's a lot of questions about how that happened, and we can't really know. We don't have all the facts, but it's a surprising amount of violence to see someone gunned down outside an apartment building in what is otherwise a fairly peaceful suburban neighborhood. And here's the thing, you know, I drove by the location of this apartment. You know, I'm not even sure which one it was, because violence comes and it goes. And it had went, and there weren't like, I didn't stop to do a forensics analysis of like where are the shell casings or something, but it was just like, you know, I think most people drove by that place, had no idea what it was. Didn't care. And then one evening it explodes and gunfire, and everyone's like, what's going on? And then a few days later it's back to like nothing happened, right? Where did that energy go? What does that do to people who saw it or witnessed it? You know, it's an interesting question, I think. That man's name was Reinhold, and he was wanted and apparently seems to have admitted to having shot someone in Portland. So Reinhold declared himself a member of Antifa, and I have a whole theory on where like the Antifa slash, you know, combative left-wing protesters come from in Portland. Like it's a very, very small but notable strain, and you can check out my blog adamehwilson.com if you want to hear my theory on that. But the point is, he was down there, declared himself on the left side of things. He was upset about police violence and racism, was out there providing security to other protesters, and got into some kind of conflict that he may or may not have instigated with someone on the right side. And the right side protester, whose name was Danielson, was armed to the teeth as well, and he was killed, presumably by Reinhold. So there's like 2 deaths. And about the same time as Reinhold was being tracked down over this way, maybe 5-6 miles in Olympia, downtown Olympia, other folks dressed all in black were in fact running amok and started some dumpsters on fire. That attracted the notice of a business owner who apparently was assaulted when he got out there and was like, what are you doing? And they attacked him. Trouble ensues. The local police show up. The people who are doing the protest slash rioting have shields or something, and they're all massing up to do battle. And then, as I understand it, according to the reports, those people like scatter and go change out of their all black clothes and disappear. But In the aftermath of that and many other similar incidences, downtown Olympia is, you know, not looking so good. And what's weird, if you go down there, is that there's plenty of George Floyd memorials and murals and Black Lives Matter signs. And let's remember that this all started because George Floyd, a black man in Minneapolis, was suspected of maybe passing like a counterfeit like $20 bill and ended up like being killed in broad daylight by the police that were arresting him for it. And that did not sit well with people, and it should not, and it is wrong. And we have seen multiple examples of how law enforcement deals violently with black people in a way it does not deal with other people, and it's just outrageous. But those are, again, kind of like these little bits of violence we're talking about. They're like little moments, and it's hard to like get your arms around them. And downtown Olympia has got all sorts of boarded up, bashed in windows next to the signs proclaiming their allegiance with the same side, I would assume, as the people bashing in the windows. I don't know. What does that do? I don't know. I got a lot of I don't knows in this video, but I feel like it's this smoky air. I feel like the world's on fire and we're all kind of breathing it in, and we're all saying, well, I feel okay. It's not really getting to me. You know, and it's true, but like that is carried forth. It's carried forth into the world by the people who witness it firsthand, by people who know somebody, and on YouTube and on nightly news. And I don't think we can all say that, oh, everything's cool. It's definitely not cool. So what does that mean? It means here in Lacey, things are fine, but the world's on fire.